بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الحمد لله الذي نور قلوبنا بأنوار المحبة الألوية وأكمل لنا ديننا بولاية المرتزبية وتم نعمته علينا بهداية الهيدرية ونصلي ونسلم على سيد من خلق المؤمن الحق بالحق حبيب إلهنا وطبيب نفوسنا أبي القاسم محمد
اللهم صل على محمد
صلى الله عليه وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين الهداة المهديين ولعنة الله على أعدائهم أجمعين من يوم إدابتهم إلى يوم الدين. اللهم كن لوليك الحجة ابن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرضك طوعا وتمتعه فيها تبيدا. صلوات Brothers and sisters in Iman, Assalamu alaikum. For those of you who were not here last night, one of the questions that was posed and we tried to give an answer to is that why are we Shias? Why did we get chosen to be Shias? And why did we in particular, because there are many Shias, there are many groups of Shias, not all of them maybe do Azadari for Imam Hussein as much as maybe we do. Some people only come for the first 10 days, some people only come on the 10th day, and then they go. So we have to look to see why the quality of the Azadari, why we are here all the way to the end, and why some people leave earlier, so on and so forth. We got to this conclusion last night that with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, wherever a call is placed out, the answer Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would provide within the human being. And we said last night that there are 12 worlds. Now what is the world in Arabic is alam. But alam, if we say it's a world, you may get a misconception that it's like another planet and so on and so forth. But no, it's another stage of your journey from the beginning till the end. So there are 12 stages, inshallah tonight we will touch upon them. And we mentioned last night that this call of Hazrat Ibrahim that was placed back in the day in Mecca when there was no one there, Allah placed that answer of that call within the wombs and the loins of the mu'mineen. Then you will see when you go to Mecca, when you go to Hajj, we say Labbaik Ya Allah. If we look at the ziyarat on the 1st of Rajab, there is the ziyarat of Imam Hussein on the 1st of Rajab. In there is this line that we say to Imam Hussein, Labbaik Da'i Allah. That we are saying Labbaik to Imam Hussein. Why? Because he is the caller of Allah. And we said, when did Imam Hussein make this call? His call was on the 10th of Muharram, when he said, Hal min Nasirin yansuruni. That call was not for that Muharram. That call was not for that Ashura. That call was made on that day, but the answer would be going on till the day of Qiyamah. And we will see that, especially in the last 10 years or so, this Labbaik Ya Hussein has become the main slogan for the Azadari Imam Hussein. Whereas if you go back 10, 15 years ago, we didn't have this slogan. And this is why when I said last night, every year the Azadari of Imam Hussein takes on a new mercy, a new face to it, and you will see the movement is growing year by year. And again, you will see this similar prediction and prophecy of Hazrat Zainab on the 11th of Muharram to Imam Sajjad. When they came to the body, Imam Sajjad said to his aunt Zainab, is this not the body of Wali of Allah on the ground lying like this in this state where there is no grave, there is no tomb, there's nothing here? Because the body was on the ground. It was not yet buried. So Hazrat Zainab said to him, there will be a day where this place will be covered with domes. It will have flags, and millions upon millions of people will come to visit this. This is exactly the same question Ibrahim posed to Allah, that if I build this house in the desert, what use is this? Allah said there will be millions upon millions of people coming to do the pilgrimage. So we answered the call of Imam Hussein. Where did we answer that call? In that world. In that world we said, Labbaik Ya Hussein. Allah wrote us down as the Azadar of Hussein when we come into this world, when we are incarnated into this world. When do we come? When is our turn? And why do we get incarnated into certain families? That is again a topic for inshallah another night. But the 12 stages, I'm not going to go into every 12 because first of all, these 12 stages are not, this is not the place to get into them because these are philosophical conversations, this is in-depth conversation, and remember it's not the place. But I'm just going to mention them so you know what the 12 stages are. I'm only going to focus on one of them. So the 12 alams that we have, the first one is alam anwar, when we are light. Rasulullah said, أَفَلَمَنْ خَلَقَ اللَّهُ النُّورُ. The first thing that Allah created is light. Therefore you will see the atom. When you break it, it's light. The building block of everything is one atom. Which is why Hazrat Adam is called Adam. You will see the similarity between atom and atom. But anyway, that's another conversation. So Alam Anwar is the first one. Then we have Alam Al-Ashbah. Then we have Alam Al-Tinat. Then we have Alam Asma'ullah. Then we have Alam Al-Nisab or Alam Al-Ahd. Then we have Alam Al-Sulb. Then we have Alam Al-Rahim. Then we have Alam Al-Arwah. Then we have Alam al-Dunya, then we have Alam al-Barzakh, and then we have Alam al-Qiyamat, and then we have Akhirah. These are the 12 stages that every single human being has to go through. So why are we Shias? Because in the Alam al-Nisa, Alam al-Ahd, there they took a covenant from us. They took a covenant from us. They took an Ahd. In Arabic it says Ahd. They took a pledge, they took an oath from us in that world. Who wants to be the Shia of Amir al-Mu'mineen? There we gave the answer as yes, we want to be the Shias of Amir al-Mu'mineen. So whoever in that alam did the answer will be born a Shia. Why do I say this? Because if you look, we have a dua. It is known as Du'a Ahd. Now the name of this dua means you're a dua of covenants, of a pledge. But if you study that dua, we don't make a pledge in that dua. Isn't that interesting? The dua is called the dua of pledge, making an oath, putting your hand, doing bay'at. But in that dua, we do not make a bay'at with Imam al-Zaman. So what do we do? Now, first of all, let me tell you the qualities of this dua. 6th Imam says that whoever for 14 mornings recites Dua Ahd. Now Dua Ahd takes about 5 minutes to recite. But look what the recompense of this dua is. That whoever recites it for 40 consecutive mornings, they will be a companion and ashab of Imam al-Zaman. Now Imam al-Sadiq is saying this. The truthful Imam is saying this. For 40 days if you recite it, you will 100% guarantee to be a companion of Imam al-Zaman. So much so that if you die, Allah will bring you back on this earth if you die before the reappearance of Imam. Power of this dua. But like I said, in that dua we do not make a bay'at, we do not make a new act, we do not make a new pledge to Imam al-Zaman. What do we say in that dua? We say, Allahumma inni ujaddidu lahu fi sabi'ati yawmi hada. Allah, I am renewing my pledge and my allegiance on this morning. Why do we say renewing? We should say we are making a new bay'at, making a new pledge. No, because we already made that pledge in the other world. So we are renewing this pledge. وَمَا إِشْتُ, until the time I am alive, I will keep renewing this pledge. مِنْ أَيَّامِ أَحْدًا وَأَقْدًا وَبَيْئَةً. So we are making an act, which is a pledge, an act, which is a contract, and a bay'at, which is an allegiance. So this means we have done all these 3 things before. Because we say ujaddidu, it is renewing. on this morning, and until I am alive, I will renew it. And this is the point, that I say we answered that call and we took it upon ourselves, because in the dua it says this, Lahu fi unuqi. That this pledge, that this covenant is on my neck. That we took this pledge on that day, and we say in English, on your neck be it. So there was no force. This shows that there was no force upon us, that you have to take this covenant. No, Allah made a call. When we were in the alam of Misa, He said to our light, who wants to be a Shia? We said yes. A majority said no. Yeah? So why do I say we made the pledge to be a Shia? Because Imam Sadiq salam says that the day of Qadir in this world is the day of Qadir. But Imam says, Fil Asma, in the heavens, it is known as Yawmul Ahdil Mawhud. What does that mean? Yawmul Ahdil Mawhud. The day of a pledge, of an old pledge. That means this pledge was taken from us in the old life, in the Alam Misa. So that's why Qadir is again on this earth is a call. The same as the call of Ibrahim was a call. The message of Islam is a call, it's an invitation. The message of Imam Hussein was an invitation. So when Rasulullah says, Man kuntu mawla, fahada aliyan mawla, we already knew, because there was actually no Shi'as in that gathering. There may have been 100,000 people present, but there was no Shi'as present. So it is for them to know that who Ali ibn Abi Talib on that call. Otherwise we already knew this. So why, if we recite a 5-minute dua for 40 days, do we get this maqam? What does it mean to have an act? What does it mean to have a covenant? What does it mean to have a pledge to Imam Zaman? What do we have to do to prove our pledge? Whoever has been to the Sardar of Imam Zaman in Samarra, and those who haven't been, may inshallah Allah grant all of us the ziyarat of that place. When you go to the Sardar, it has a ziyarat nama. There's a very short ziyarat that you recite before you enter the Sardar, which is a few stairs and steps that goes downstairs. In that ziyarat, we mention what the ahd of an imam is, and it is this: وَهُوَ أَهْدِي إِلَيْكَ. So first of all, knowing who your imam is, who you're making the ahd to. So the ahd is to Imam Zaman. وَمِيثَاقِ لَدَيْكَ. So we said it was Alam Mithaq. Mithaq is what? Mithaq is where you give a true pledge. فَأَبْذَلُ نَفْسِي وَأَهْلِي وَمَالِي وَبَلَدِي وَجَمِيعِ مَا كَفَّلَنِي رَبِّي. So for me to fulfill this pledge, I will give everything that I have, that Allah has given me. What does that mean? That means we have to give what Allah has given us in the way of Ahlul Bayt. Imam Hussein also made this ahd. Every Imam that came made this pledge. You will see Imam Hussein gave everything in the way of God. He gave his wife, his children, his sister, everybody in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we have to do the same. Now my brothers and sisters, if you don't spend, I know money is a very issue that a lot of people get, but if we don't spend the money in the way of Ahlul Bayt, you will spend that money in the way of Shaitan. Because we have to spend that money, you can't keep it and then not spend any of it. So if you spend any of that money and it's not in the way of Ahlul Bayt, it will be spent in the way of Shaitan. Because there's only two camps in this world. Inshallah, on the other nights I will tell you what these two camps are. If you don't spend your voice, Allah has given you a voice. Inshallah, brother Tijani has got a very lovely voice. Allah has given this voice. He has not got it from his own accord. Even though he has a sore throat, his voice is still beautiful. But he's still spending that voice in the way of Ahlul Bayt. If he doesn't spend that voice in the way of Ahlul Bayt, he spends it in the way of Shaitan. If you don't do the act to the Imam, you will do the act to the enemies of Imam. So Allah has given you hearing, He has given you sight, He has given you wealth, He has given you children, He has given you everything. Everything's from Allah, nothing's from us. So spend this, even your ears. If you listen to something that you know is not the teachings of Imam, it is not the message of Imam, shut your ear off to it. If you listen to two people backbiting, shut your ear away from it. Do not use your tongue, the same tongue that Allah has given you to say Ya Hussein with, Ya Ali with. Do not use that tongue to do backbiting, to cause slander, to tell lies with. You see? So all of this is given to us by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and for us to keep the ad of Imam, we have to spend it in the way of Allah. I'm going to give you a few examples of this tonight. We mentioned last night about Abdullah ibn Umar. Who was Abdullah ibn Umar? He was the son of the second Khalif. He was a very famous personality in his time. People used to respect him highly. Why? Because on the face of it, he was the son of the second Khalif. He was also, on the face of it, a very pious man. He most likely had a very long beard, probably didn't have a moustache, he probably wore a short dress, maybe he had the sajda place on his forehead, maybe he had those miswaks in his teeth. Yeah. But on the face of it, so people looking at him would think that this man is very religious, so they would respect him. Yet this man, who was also to a certain extent an alim, because a lot of Ahl Sunnah, hadiths and traditions say, Qala Abdullah ibn Umar raziyallahu anhu. So, on the face of it, a very respected man. Yet this man did not do bay'at with Amir al-Mu'mineen. He refused. Because when Amir al-Mu'mineen came to be the Khalif, it was a time of fitna. We all know this, there was a time of fitna. Osman had just been killed, and they all blamed Amir al-Mu'mineen and so on and so forth. So he said, look, this is a time of fitna. The situation is not very clear. Therefore, I will not do bay'at to Ali ibn Abi Talib. He had a good excuse. He wasn't sure. When it came to the time of Imam Hassan, he said, no. Hassan has chosen to do peace with Muawiyah. Therefore, he's not a strong leader. Therefore, I will not do bay'at with Hassan ibn Ali. Okay. When it came to the time of Imam Hussein, like I said last night, he said to Imam Hussein, you have an issue with Yazid. This has got nothing to do with me. I'm a pious man. I want to sit here to do my namaz and my fasting and my ibadat in Masjid al-Nabi. I don't have any time for politics. So he refused to do bay'at with Imam Hussein. When Imam al-Sajjad came back from Karbala and all those situations, he was still alive. He also then refused to do bay'at with Imam al-Sajjad. What happened then? The Khilafat of Bani Umayyah came to the hands of Abdul Malik al-Marwan, la'natullahi alayhi. He made Yazid look good. This is how brutal he was. He became the Khalif. When he became the Khalif, the situation changed. Because this Khalif had a minister, had a Hakim by the name of Hajjaj ibn Yusuf. La'natullahi alayhi. This guy was the butcher of Shias. He killed Shias in the most horrible way imaginable. Let me give you one example of how he killed Shias. When he wanted to build a Dar al-Imara, a place for their Hakim to live in, he would place the Shias in between the bricks of this building and build the building on top of the Shias while they were still alive. This was how this man was, in brutality. So when he became the Hakim, he came to Medina and he says, today I am collecting bay'at for the Khalif of Allah. Abdullah ibn Umar thought, now this one If I say no, and I come up with an excuse, then my head will be on my lap by the morning. So Hajjaj ibn Yusuf came to the house of Abdullah, because he was a very high personality, so they start with the highest one. Because if he pledges, everyone will say, well, Abdullah ibn Umar pledges, then we all follow like sheep. So when he came, Abdullah ibn Umar was not at home. So they left a message. And he said, tell Abdullah that Hajjaj is here, that I've come to take bay'at, but because you're not home, whenever you have time, come and see me. When Abdullah ibn Umar came home, it was night time. Whoever was in the house, his khadim or someone said, look, Hajjaj was here this morning. What was he here for? He wanted to take a bay'at from you. He panicked. It is written that midnight, it was midnight, he ran to the house of Hajjaj ibn Yusuf. He knocked on the door. Hajjaj's khadim opened the door. He says, who is at this time of night? He says, it is Abdullah ibn Umar. What do you want? He says, I have come to see Hajjaj. For what reason? It is very important. I need to see him. So the khadim went inside. Hajjaj, Abdullah ibn Umar is here. Would you want to see him? He said, look, it's late. I'm in bed. What does the geezer want? He says it's very important. He said, okay, because it's Abdullah, tell him to come in. Hajjaj was lying in his bed, half asleep. Abdullah comes in, he stands at the foot of his bed. And he stands there. What do you want? I heard you came to my house today this morning to do bay'at. I wasn't there, I'm very sorry. I'm here now to do bay'at with you, to do pledge with you. Give me your hand. He says, no, I'm in bed, I'm tired. He stuck his foot out from under the blanket. He said, do bay'at to my feet. He did bay'at on his feet. Then Hajjaj said to him, what was the rush that you did not leave it till the morning? And now look, he said, I heard from Rasulullah, man mata, man lam ya'rif imam al-zamanihi mata, mitatan jahiliyyah.